Sprinters always ask me, what's more important, stride length or stride frequency? Some say it's about covering the ground with each step. Others argue that's about just increased frequency, about how many steps you take per second. But before we dive into all that, let me introduce myself. My name is Lawrence L. Johnson. I'm a professional sprinter, multiple-time All-American, and I placed 9th at the U.S. Championship in 100 meters dash this year, and I ran a win-aided sub-10 for the first time in my career. And this is the proof behind what I teach. Every single athlete that's worked with me on a one-on-one basis for at least 6 months has set a new personal record in either one of their events, so at least one of their events on the track, or in one of our speed testing metrics. Results don't lie, and obviously that's barring injury. So let's break down stride length versus stride frequency and how they come alive through the phases of 100 meters. So the formula, sprinting is honestly a simple math at the end of the day, right? It's velocity equals stride length times stride frequency. The stride length is the distance you cover per step. Stride frequency is the number of steps per second. And here's the key, right? Stride length comes from strength and power and your ability to produce force into the ground. Frequency comes from elasticity and rhythm and how fast you can cycle your legs and get off the ground. And the biggest mistake here is that athletes chase one at the expense of the other. The fastest sprinters in history have built both, and they blend them together across the entire race. So Usain Bolt, this is real data, takes 41 to 43 steps and is 9:58. Right, that's like enormous stride length, honestly. And not the fastest turnover at the end of the day, but he had unmatched projection and strength. Gatlin, on the other hand, was shorter, but had quicker frequency at 45 steps. So he maximized rhythm and reactivity. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, right, not the tallest by all means, but nearly takes 5 steps per second at top speed. That's like pure frequency. But meanwhile, your average high school sprinter takes around 52 to 55 steps with shorter strides and frequency not really that fast either. And that's a gap between average mechanics and elite mechanics. So that means this is the takeaway for you watching this video. Stride length equals strength, but stride frequency equals rhythm. And the best learn when to lean on each at the end of the day. Acceleration 0 to 30 meters. This phase is all about strength into the ground. Stride length grows step by step from under a meter on the first step to 2+ meters by 30 meters. And frequency is intentionally and should be slower here, right? Because you don't want to rush your legs. You need patience and you need projection and raw strength to build momentum. And athletes who try to force frequency too early end up spinning their wheels without power. Now there's going to be somebody on this video, I'm calling it right now, and someone's gonna do it just for trolling, and that's okay either, too. Someone's gonna try to talk about a specific group of sprinters. I got 3 to 4 that come into mind, and they're gonna talk about how their frequency is so fast in the first 30 meters. And these athletes might have already ran extremely fast times, but just because they ran it fast and their frequency is extremely fast doesn't mean they couldn't run faster if they did it the correct way. It is just science at the end of the day. So here's how stride length and frequency begins to blend. You're still projecting, right? But now the rhythm starts to creep in. Stride length is holding strong at 2+ meters, and your frequency of the limbs start to continuously climb forward. And this is the phase where strength meets rhythm. The stronger your base, the smoother your frequency feels. So athletes who lack strength never even get enough projection here, right? But athletes who lack frequency feel stuck in the ground. And this is where frequency ends up ruling in max velocity from 60 to 80 meters. The stride length stabilizes, usually between 2.2 to 2.5 meters for elite athletes, but the turnover hits its peak value. The stronger you are, the longer your stride can be at max velocity, but the more elastic and reactive you are, the higher frequency you can have. And this is where strength built length and rhythm built frequency finally works in a perfect balance. I'm gonna say that again. This is where strength built length, and rhythm is built frequency. That's when they finally work together in a perfect balance. So 80 to 100 meters. This is the final 20 meters. It's all about holding posture and rhythm. And this is where strength keeps you from collapsing and frequency is now ingrained in your rhythm. So you want to hold that frequency and ingrain yourself in holding that rhythm. This keeps your legs turning over even as fatigue sets in. And the sprinters who train both end up surviving this phase. But the sprinter who only trains one starts to fall apart. We've all seen the sprinters who have crazy frequency but start to fall apart even at this point in the race, and maybe even at 70 to 80 meters, because you need to train both and blend them together, and that is the real test of how good you can be. So to improve your stride length, you need to improve your strength and force application. You can do this by 6 sets of 20 to 30 meters acceleration from the blocks, 3 sets of 30 meters bounding runs, 3 sets of 10 to 15 single leg bound contact per side. For strength work, I like trap bar deadlift, 4 sets of 4 reps at 80%, back squat 5 sets of 3, Olympic lifts for explosive projection, and 6 times 20 meter sled sprints at 20% of your body weight. And the cue is don't reach for the stride length, push the ground away and let the strength create distance. To improve stride frequency, you need elasticity and rhythm. So this is your 6 times 30 meter flying sprints with a 20 meter buildup. This is 4 sets of 20 meter assisted sprints down a hill or with a band, 4 sets of 30 meter wicket runs at proper spacing, or 3 times 20 meter fast leg drills. Throw in your plyometrics, your hurdle hops, your depth jumps, and your pogos. And the cue here is don't just spin your legs. Step down fast and get off fast, because frequency should build gradually and it should come alive as the race unfolds and not forced at the start. And this is where most sprinters fail. Tall, strong sprinters force stride length and end up overstriding, while smaller sprinters force frequency and end up chopping their steps down with no power. And the truth is, stride length comes from strength, and that dominates early, and frequency builds gradually and dominates later. Together they come and create the flow of the 100 meter dash. So film your race, count your steps. Is it over 52? You need more length and projection. If it's under 44 but still slow, you're like way overstriding, and add frequency and rhythm work. So here's your action plan. Film your 100 meters, count your steps, and calculate your stride length. Identify your weaknesses and fix it, and add the right drills and retest every 6 weeks, because stride length grows from strength and stride frequency builds gradually and takes over with rhythm. The 100 meters is about blending the two. And let me leave you with this. This message is going to cause envy and some confusion in others. This video will ultimately do that, but also inspire a select few. And if you are one of those select few that is inspired from this video and want to be an action taker, you have 2 steps. And if you're not one of those people, you can go ahead and skip off and be like the 99% of those that watch this video and just go to the next one. But if you are the select few who this video is made for, you have 2 options. You can join my free community called Sprint University, which is a group of sprinters all working together for free. Or you can book a call directly with me to be like one of the athletes in my one-on-one training group that gets faster, stronger, and more explosive after 6 months of training. In most cases, a lot earlier than that. And if you aren't a good fit, on this call, we'll point you in a direction to help you. That's the worst case scenario, but the best case scenario, you are a good fit and we absolutely change your speed forever. I'll see you guys in the next video.